Hey everybody, hope you all are doing well. So I just wanted to follow up that last video because I brought up PTSD and fear and being afraid of love and these things. And there's just some more things I want to say in that. So like everything that we do, it happens to us happens for a reason. So with the PTSD thing, one thing I want to be clear about is it's when you have these labels on things, sometimes we get stuck on labels, and that can be destructive in itself. Now, it's good to be aware and acknowledge what you got going on with you, but also not to just like completely associate yourself with that thing. Like I kind of have this thing with a lot of drug addicts, though, or alcoholics. Uh, the saying, once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic type thing. It's like, I don't know. I've always thought like once you really quit drinking and stuff and you turn your life around and you're not drinking all the time and you're not thinking about drinking all the time, I don't really think you're an alcoholic anymore. That's just me. It's kind of the same thing with the PTSD. Like I have gotten over. Um, I mean, it's still there a little bit. It's actually come back just the past couple of weeks. But for the most part, like the way it was, with me being, worried, essentially almost 24/7, having to be on guard of Little Bear attacking me or my family. A lot of it was my family and my mother. That I was worried about. My father too, but my mom's, she's my mom, so she's also the physically the smallest person in the house. So um, there was a lot of concern for that. But this all happened because I wasn't. It's on me. It goes back to being on me again. When Little Bear came to us, I was more aware of. I'm a little bit older than Joshua, so I've lived with dogs pretty much my whole life too. I had in Phoenix, Arizona, we had a dog for 10 years, and we've had Rosie and Shiloh now for about 10 years, and I've had Little Bear now for 2 years. So I've always had animals in my life. So I know I've got good experience. And when Joshua brought back Little Bear, I was like, wow, it's going to be a lot. At the time, I wasn't at the best place, when it comes to speaking my truths. And again, this goes into the fear thing. I was allowing fear to hold my tongue and to tie my tongue down rather than speak the truth. And we both got sick because of it. If I'd been more firm about the water thing and been like, yo, man, my dad's an ex Special Forces Ranger. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to surviving the wilderness. I've done my fair share of camping, and it's kind of a known thing. You don't just drink water without making sure it's okay, unless you really, really have to, or you really should never do it just because of the state the earth is in. There's always a chance that you can get fucking sick. And then you're out there in the woods and you're getting sick, and it's just a recipe for disaster. Especially if you have a way to, make sure your water's okay. So, anyways, that was my fault. I didn't speak up on that. I didn't, put my foot down and be like, no, man, it's not the right thing to do. I know better. My dad just told me better. We need to listen to our elders, this and that. And so, I allowed fear to control me, and then there were a few times, more than a few times, that, there were talks that we would have when he would say things and it just didn't feel right to me, but I didn't want to confront him on it, so I allowed fear again to control me, and this stuff builds up and you continue to do, and you're building up a spiritual curse on yourself, essentially, by allowing fear to guide you, to control you, to manipulate you, to influence you, but you're allowing it. I could have chose to fight. That's where you got to learn how to fight sometimes. Stand up for what's right. But you got to be careful with that fighting, because then you can get into the cycle of fighting, and then you end up fighting everybody. And so that's why it's good to have balance, and you'll be able to kind of look outside the box at times and see where you're tripping, and be like, okay, well, I've got some good direction in that area. Maybe I've even doing a little too much to where things are getting a little tipsy tossy. Maybe I should curve this way and round things out a little bit. Or whatever you got to do. It's art. Life is art. It's good to have fun with it, but also to take things serious when they need to be taken serious. So, back to this fear thing. Again, yeah, so that fear, all that came, is my fault, and me not doing things the right way, me not following, the truth that's inside of me, being myself. I can't blame that on anybody else but me. So, And then also, with that being said, that leads up to the, and then the effect of that, the karmatic effect of that down the road, this is where things can transpire into really bad stuff happening to you when you continue to allow fear to beat you down. And because not only did I hurt myself by not speaking up, but I hurt Joshua too, because I was really the one who was supposed to, because he didn't really know better. He's still young. He doesn't know camping like I know camping. And if he knew better, he would have done differently. But he just really didn't know better. And being who he was, and me looking at him, who he was, I enabled that, his, inexperienced knowledge or intelligence to rule over that moment, instead of me stepping up and being like, hey man, I know better and this is why. So again, it's not on him, it's on me. And then that got him sick. He even got sick worse than me. So, anyways, my point is, when you do things the wrong way, or when you hold your tongue, or you're dishonest, or any of these type of sins, you're not only hurting yourself, but you're hurting the ones around you. Now, they're around you for a reason too, granted, but, we all have the choice, I think, an element of choice, an element of influence in each and every moment to, go the honorable path or the dishonorable path, or, the lighter or the darker, whatever you want to call it, man. The one that helps cultivate life in that good and growing direction, or the one that helps destroy it. They all got their part to play. What part do you want to be a part of? What part do you think is most meaningful in the time that we're in? For me, I think life needs help growing. I think there's plenty of things destroying it, so I'm going to try to continue to help cultivate it as well as I can. But I also got to cultivate me, my life, my vessel, make sure that I'm okay, and the things that are around me are being taken care of. So, again, you have to, that's another thing. I try to jump the gun on other projects when other projects aren't taken care of, so that's myself, learning, rushing things, which again isn't doing things the right way. So when you continue to have these, elements that aren't really being done the right way, they have an effect. They have a spiritual synergetic effect that, karmatically comes back at you. And for me, I think that's what happened with Little Bear. I just needed a wake-up call. I just kept on allowing things to happen that, I shouldn't have, or, whatever. I mean, they needed to happen because they needed to happen, but they happened, and, the attack started. So, and and then once they got to a certain point, I even thought about relocating him, but I was like, oh, he's such a bad risk at biting people. Like, there's a chance that he's gonna get, taken out. So I couldn't even do that anymore. I had to learn how to, just take care of him and learn about him. And I didn't even do all that great of a job, but I started paying a lot of attention to videos and taking notes and really just trying to learn as well as I could, while dealing with my addictions and other things too. But, I paid attention to him. I started really researching, things about dogs, and, listening to try to spend a couple hours a day watching YouTube videos, just putting energy in that area, just putting care in that area, even if it's not, some people get caught up on if it's not the absolute most right thing and perfect thing for that moment, and don't do it at all. And I disagree. I think if it's in the good and right direction, then that's a good and right thing to do. And from there you can learn, and maybe from there you'll learn to even more, so-called perfect place or perfect lesson, but it's good to have progress. You can't get anywhere without first taking that first step. So I'm always about encouraging people, just take that first step, maybe that second step will come, and then you can get some momentum, and before you know it, you're all the way to that 13th step. So anyways, what I was trying to say with this whole thing is, like, for me, like, my PTSD is nowhere near as bad as it is for other people who've been to war and stuff like that. But I do feel like, my thing with Little Bear, it did leave me scarred for a little bit as far as animals and just violence and how quickly things can turn like that. And you think you know something, and then it just ends up, attacking you, and but I also want to know that once you start doing the right thing and really start learning from the lesson, and like thinking about why this is happening, and take it like a problem, and try to solve it, the better things get, the better you feel. And again, like I said, as far as the attacks are concerned with Little Bear, they haven't been happening for some good time now. So something must have, gone right to allow that not to happen anymore. So Anyways, thanks for watching, y'all. I hope you have a good day, and I love y'all. Bye.